Everybody, and welcome to the 17th annual Crystal Apple Awards. We are now celebrating, believe it or not, nearly 2 decades of recognizing excellent teachers. So thank you for being with us here tonight. It is a pleasure, as always. This is one of my favorite events of the year. So teachers, good to see you guys again. Where have you guys been hiding out?
At home.
Yeah, 3 months wasn't enough, huh? Sheesh, give it all summer. Oh well, but no, you're anxious to see your students again, and so are we. 6 months, man. Why don't you just do what the rest of us do, you know? If we wait 6 months for, to see the people we like the most, it's called winter, right? So just wait for winter. Anyway, okay. All right, well, we hope you've enjoyed your dinner, your delicious assortment of treats courtesy of Hotel Marshfield. So let's thank them for their hospitality tonight. Round of applause for Hotel Marshfield. All right, so over the past 17 years, we have, there have been more than 425 educators recognized now as teachers of distinction through this program. And we have the pleasure of having several of these past Crystal Apple recipients with us tonight. All right, so I would ask that you stand to be recognized if you're a past teacher of distinction. Where are my past teachers of distinction? Stand up and be recognized. I know you're out there. Thank you. Let's hear it for them. And thank you for being here to support this year's winners. We also welcome all the friends, family, and colleagues of the teachers that we are honoring here tonight, so thank you for being with us. This program is made possible because of the support of, obviously, our participating school districts. And so other special guests tonight include school board members, school principals, and administrators. And so we ask that those school representatives please stand at this time and be recognized, okay? Stand up and let's hear it for our school board members, principals, and administrators. All right, also with us tonight, Mackey's President Scott Larson and members from Mackey's Board of Directors and staff, along with Mayor Bob McManus. I would ask them to stand and be recognized at this time. Could we recognize those people? Stand up. The support of many Marshfield area businesses is obviously another vital part to the success of the Crystal Apple program. And so I'd like to take a moment to recognize the sponsors and also partners in attendance with us tonight. So if you're here from one of the following companies, I would ask that you stand and be recognized. And if you hear your business, just stand and I'll keep reading them, okay? Our presenting sponsor, Marshfield Clinic Health System. Stand up. Our gold sponsors, Heinz Printing and Promotional, that's our print sponsor. Hub City Times, a media sponsor. Hotel Marshfield, host location sponsor. And WDLB Radio, media sponsor. I'm already standing. Silver sponsors, Advanced Disposal, Simplicity Credit Union, and Prevention Genetics. There they are. Our bronze sponsors, Cellcom and Mid-State Technical College. And our Friends of Education, Dental Clinic of Marshfield, First Choice Credit Union, Forward Bank, Partners Bank, Remax American Dream Realty, Rice's Capital Carpet, Rail Transport, Staub Construction, Total Electric Service, and UWSP at Marshfield. Let's hear it for these wonderful sponsors. Thank you, as always, for your support. All right, so we kicked this thing off way back at the end of September when area business leaders visited classrooms, and we invited students, if you remember, to fill out those nomination forms. We distributed, let's see, I got one. Remember these? We distributed the little chargers, the phone chargers, as gifts, okay? Because we know that our educators work to connect our students to the world. Thus, these gifts were generously supported by Marshfield Clinic Health System, and they were presented to every teacher and support staff in the participating school districts. Early October rolls around. The Marshfield Area Chamber Foundation's Partners in Educational Excellence and Workforce Development received 1,170 nominations for 311 different teachers. Now this year we were able to have an electronic nomination, and that certainly helped, and we saw a big increase in nominations this year because of that. So once that process closed, an electronic ballot was created for teachers to vote on their top choices. So a minimum of one teacher to represent each school. Those who were chosen are the Crystal Apple Teachers of Distinction that we are about to recognize. So we would like to thank and recognize Dr. Cynthia Porter from Pittsville High School. She was instrumental in helping Mackey staff to develop the electronic formats for these pieces, and she made it easier for people to nominate and vote. So thank you, Dr. Porter. Yes, thank you. All right, so at this time, I'd like to ask Scott Larson, Mackey President, and Karen Isaacson, Mackey's Talent and Membership Director, to come forward to assist with awarding gifts to our Teachers of Distinction. Mr. Larson.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, band is ready. Okay. First up, Laura Lee Berry. Has been an educator, for 26 years and currently teaches first grade at Auburndale Elementary. And as I name you off, just come on up and pick up your award, and then you can return to your seat. So, next, April Dahl has taught for 21 years, 9 of them at Washington Elementary, where she teaches first grade. Next, Whitney Eckes is a 4th grade teacher at Spencer Elementary, where she just completed her 3rd year of teaching in her 9-year teaching career. Michelle Erickson has been teaching for 37 years, with 35 of them at Greenwood, where she teaches special education. Unable to attend tonight is Bethany Franklin, and she's been a special education teacher for the past 5 years in Grantham. Next is Brian Favorite, has taught for the past 23 years, with 17 of them at Lincoln Elementary, where he teaches 2nd grade. Also unable to attend tonight, Jenny Hopperman has been an educator for the past 21 years. She currently teaches English, math, and geography at Greenwood Middle and High School. Also unable to attend is Renee Hammond, teaches 5th and 6th grade students at Emmanuel Lutheran. Renee has 33 years of teaching experience, with the last 10 of them at Emmanuel Lutheran. Kimberly Kolstead has been a middle school counselor for 7 years at Marshfield Middle School, working with students and building their self-confidence is a focus of hers. Unable to attend this evening, Michelle Korth. She's been teaching for 8 years, with the last 6 of them at Trinity Lutheran, where she teaches kindergarten. Next is Becky Linsmeyer, has been in education for 20 years, with the last 9 of them at Marshfield Middle School, where she teaches physical education. And next is Sandy Olsen, and has been teaching 4 years, with 3 of them at Spencer Middle and High School, where she teaches chorus and handbells. Next is Patricia Silva, has been teaching for 9 years and has been at Columbus Catholic High for 1.5 years, where she teaches Spanish. Unable to attend this evening, Charles Trinkler teaches Business and Information Technology to grades 9 through 12 at Marshfield High School, where he has taught for the past 16 years. Also unable to attend this evening, Kelly Voss has been teaching for 25 years, with 18 of them at Nasonville Elementary, where she teaches 1st grade. Next, Caitlin Broman has been teaching for the past 6 years, with 4 of them at Madison Elementary, where she teaches 5th grade. Unable to attend this evening, Beth Weiland has been teaching for 9 years, with the last 6 of them at St. John's Primary, where she teaches preschool 3-year-olds. And next is Jenny Warner, has been teaching for 27 years, with the last 13 of them at St. Joseph's in Stratford, where she teaches pre-K and kindergarten. Also unable to attend this evening, Rebecca Whitrock has been a teacher for the past 20 years, with 4 of them at Grant Elementary, where she is a 2nd grade teacher. And finally, Jacqueline Lynch has been an early childhood teacher at Grant for the past 4 years of her 23-year teaching career. These teachers inspire and motivate students. They use innovative projects or programs. They're involved in their communities, and they all believe in lifelong learning and in the pursuit of professional development. I would refer you to the program at your table, where you can find the complete bio on each of them. And how about another round of applause for those 2020 Pittsville teachers? With that, I'll ask Mike to come back up.
Okay, thank you, Scott. So, as the selection process then moved forward, recommendations from school principals were provided, and the teachers of distinction then submitted a personal statement describing their educational philosophy. The final step occurred back in February, when the teachers of distinction met with a selection panel comprised of a group of leaders from area businesses who place a high value on the educated workforce. Now, the final selection was based on teachers' expertise, innovation, and leadership. The work of that selection panel is extremely difficult, I can tell you, because, well, of the time spent reviewing, evaluating, and interviewing, but also just basically because every single one of these teachers truly demonstrates educational excellence. I've done it for a number of years, and it is the best of the best. It is so difficult because you're also very good at what you do. So we are pleased to have members of that selection team in attendance for this celebration. I want to take a moment to recognize some of my colleagues on that selection panel. Melissa Breen, Marshfield Clinic Health System. I don't think she's with us tonight. Michelle Bornke, UWSP at Marshfield. Hi, Michelle. Thank you. Dr. Alex Lenved, Mid-State Technical College. Is Alex with us tonight? No. Okay. Chris Leonard, Hub City Times. Thanks, Chris. Mary Urban, Prevention Genetics. Nope, not with us tonight. Thank you, Mary. Sarah Arnoldy, Simplicity Credit Union. Sarah's right there, and she's waving but not standing. Thank you. Corey Latterell, Hotel Marshfield. Corey is here. Thank you, Corey. Awesome job. And myself. So thank you, colleagues, for your commitment to education on the selection panel. It is now time to meet the 2020 Crystal Apple Award recipients.
Mr. Cournoyer is a passionate educator who two values are agricultural and community connectedness. He creates activities that bring community members inside the classroom and the students outside. He does a great job of creating apropos lessons that students will be able to utilize after they graduate and in the real world. One of the innovative activities that Mark has created is the Community Connection Coffee Clutch. We meet the first and the third Wednesday of each month, and then community members are welcome into the building. The community leadership class helps prepare the coffee and the treats, and then they make connections with the community members. There has been a real building of relationships between the both students and community members, and both groups look forward to it. Another aspect of uniqueness that Mark brings to teaching is his greenhouse sale. So he has the students in his horticulture class plant the seedlings, tend to them while they are growing before the sale, and then the students actually create promotional material and sell to the public. Another activity the community leadership class started this year was the Veterans on Main. We have 29 poles that we can utilize and put veterans banners up. We use Marshfield's Honor Walk as our example. The students went to the village board, got approval, along with contacting local businesses and individuals who would like to sponsor a banner. This year we were able to sponsor 22 of the 29 poles, and then the proceeds will go to the Veterans Duck Trip that we have planned the last couple of years, Never Forgotten Honor Flight, and eventually a Veterans Memorial in Auburndale. All right, Mark is a great educator who builds relationships with students, community members, and his colleagues. He does a wonderful job representing the school district of Auburndale. Congratulations, Mark.
Mark Cournoyer is not just an awesome teacher. He is the face of the Auburndale community. Every farmer in our district knows Mr. Cournoyer, and that is because he cares so much for his community. He, along with Mrs. Anderson and their leadership class, are continually finding ways to give back to the community, especially the veterans. Recently, they have organized duck trips to take the veterans to the Dells. They have also decorated Main Street with posters that exemplify our appreciation for all that our veterans do. Also, each month they host a coffee clutch where veterans can come in and share their stories with our current students so their memories will not be forgotten. Most recently, his efforts with the dairy drive show just how much he cares about this community, as he's gone far out of his way to help out farmers and local cheesemakers during this difficult time of the coronavirus. Mr. Cournoyer's classroom is engaging. I never know exactly what I will find when I walk into his classroom, but one thing I know is I will find students who are engaged and who are learning. When I think of Mark's classroom, I don't think of any one place. I think of the greenhouse, I think of the school forest, I think of him just taking students on field trips and giving them those hands-on experiences that students relish. Mark has helped recreate our school forest. The Marlene Knudsen Learning Center is an amazing place. And again, you just don't know what you're going to find when you walk there. But one thing you'll find is students learning. It's utilized not just by Mr. Cournoyer, but our elementary students, our community, It's just a really neat addition to our district. And I don't think that would be possible without all the efforts that Mr. Cournoyer has put into it. Whether students are mixing sausage, cutting up venison, working in the greenhouse, one thing I know is the classroom will be hands-on. And Mr. Cournoyer understands how important that is to today's children. If you Google Auburndale Dairy Drive, you will see the difference Mr. Cournoyer is making in our community and for our local farmers. And for that, having come from a farmer family myself, I want to say thank you, Mr. Cournoyer, for all you've done for our community and for our local farmers.
Mr. Cournoyer is very passionate about everything that he does, and he really just puts in 110% effort. No matter what really comes his way, he sees the potential in all of his students, and he really just shows that he cares about all of them, which is really important for students so they are able to go to him for maybe future advice or ask questions if they're confused, or maybe just talk to him, because he's so great to talk to. He'll listen to you and he'll give you all the advice, and he really just shows that he cares about all of his students. So Mr. Cournoyer has always been so innovative, whether it be in FFA or in his classroom. This year was really an improvement in our agriculture department because of all the cool things that we got. We got our meat smoker, we got the beehive, so we're able to just kind of see how everything goes now, and we have, like, he got the cotton candy machines, so we're able to do different types of sales and stuff. And throughout my years of FFA, he has always pushed us to do new things, and we have always done, I feel like we've never done the same thing twice because of everything that he says to us. He tells us that we have to try new things in order to reach our potential. So I feel like we've never done the same thing twice. And in the classroom, he always makes sure that everybody has something that they're able to do. Maybe if they're not able to go to an event, he always makes sure that they still feel like they're helping and they're a part of something. Congratulations, Mr. Cournoyer. You really deserve everything that you have coming towards you.
All right, Mark, come on up. I present you with the 2020 Crystal Apple Award. My God, this thing is heavy. Don't drop it. Now, if you have not heard Mark speak before, take a deep seat, cowboy. You're in for a long ride. Mark, it's just after 7. Some of us have summer vacations planned. Okay? Keep it to this number C version, okay? The 20-minute version.
Sometimes the cheese talks get a little long, but no, Mike and I find inspiration from you in the morning. I listen to you, between you and John talking about some of the innovative things in agriculture. And so whether it's auto-driving or self-driving tractors or, those robotic things or the innovative things that are happening, I find that I use you guys as a gauge and all right, these are things we have to hit on because people are not aware that these things are happening. But it's really good to be here. As an agricultural educator, I had to get that one in. And for many of us in this room, I know that this is the first time that we've dressed up anything below the jacket. Okay? This is the way it's just been. I gotta thank Jenny Kilty for getting me ready for tonight because, it's been a long time since we wore a tie. So, and I want to talk a little bit about, I'm not going to talk for a long time, but I have this all scripted out, and I wrote it on a nice little yellow sheet of paper I found in my house because I'm scrapping for that kind of stuff. But passion. And passion is something that everybody in this room has. Everybody the teachers of distinction, the Crystal Apples, the people who put this thing together, it's all about passion. You have passion for teachers have passion for students, administrators have passion for their building, and all these things like that. And it can be defined as a strong feeling of enthusiasm or excitement for something or about doing something. And I've been teaching at Auburndale for now about 20 years, starting 21. And each and every year has its successes and challenges. And I base those successes and challenges off of something that I did when I was in college, and that was semester abroad. And the opening weekend of deer hunting, which I go to religiously, I was in a market in Berlin, Germany, selling vegetables with my host family, because this is what we did. And I learned German because it was a 6-hour trip, 3 hours there, 3 hours back, with my host father who spoke no English. So we picked up German really quick. But this lady came up to me and said, "Oh, I know that you're from America, and that, you know, that I was in America traveling too once." And she said, "No matter where you go and no matter what you do, the experiences that you take advantage of today, nobody can ever take those things away from you." And so I look at our experiences through school that, you know, these are all things that we need to impress upon our kids, because they'll look back on these things 20 years down the road. And 18 years ago, I was in a particular challenge. In February 2002, I was in my last semester of my probationary period of teaching. And I was issued a notice of non-renewal in that February, which came as quite a shock, because I was in the job that I love to do, and this is what I wanted to do, and I grew up in agriculture. And it was scary, but there was something amazing that happened that gave me an option, as there was an open hearing, and I was meeting with our people from WEAC and things like that, and I stepped into the elementary gym, and there were 400 people in that gym who had my back. And there were people who stepped forward, who spoke on my behalf, just saying about my passion. And they'd only known me a year and a half, and the impact I had on their kids and those things like that. And that's something that I've treasured up over all these years. And I look back on that, and that's where I get my drive from, that those people had my back. And now when they need somebody to have their back, we got our community to have their back in these hard times. And then I also had a letter that one of my students had that said, "Don't worry, we got your back." And I still have that note in my desk today, and I read it almost every day, because in good times and bad, they still got your back. And that's what drives me. And so, see, I'm staying to my script, Mike, look at that. But my focus has been meaningful lifelong lessons that will benefit my students long after they leave the classroom. And this makes definite connections to them in areas and in the core areas and things like that. So if we're talking about, he mentioned about the sausage and the meat processing and all those things, fun things you do in food science. Well, we'd use that math there, and then they have to drop on that and say, wow, math is really an important thing. I really should pay attention in my high school math class, which is hard for a high schooler, especially when they're looking online. So we try to make those connections, and I've always looked at my, he's kind of a mentor for quotes in agricultural education, but George Washington Carver once said, "Do common things uncommonly well. Anything that helps put food in the lunch pail is valuable." And I've been given, I'm getting old, I'm sorry. I've been given those opportunities in my district and in my career, which I never thought of it today until I wrote those things down. Like, this is, I'm 20 years in, I guess this is a career now, but I enjoy every day. And whether it's fabricating deer into retail cuts with students that the kids have harvested and brought in, and they wanted to do a lesson with it because Dad's not going to be home this weekend, we need to do some cutting, or facilitating greenhouse production, which this year we did it, the kids planted it, and then had some really awesome paraprofessionals, because if you have paraprofessionals at your school, thank them, because they're awesome people and they do the dirty work that nobody sees. And they're just such underappreciated people in the entire district, and like a lot of districts. Those are the people that do a lot of stuff. Like one of our paras was there at 6 in the morning with their kids online, was still online until 9:30 at night, like on a daily basis. This is what she does. And they helped me pull off a greenhouse sale that normally we do in 2 days. We had cars lined up 36 deep, and we had the greenhouse sale. We started at 8, and we were sold out by 10:30. And just super duper people. With that greenhouse sale, I had 25 employees who pretty much like water, not on a regular basis, and so it's crazy that how we do those things. Or introducing soil to our 7th graders in a variety of different products, how to tie a tie for official dress. I've been blessed with the community that supports our program and FA alumni that help support our extracurriculars, staff and administration that supports all the crazy and innovative ideas that we come up with. And I have staff that I either have to, they may or may not warrant my forgiveness, or I have to ask forgiveness of them, and or bring cheese curds to smooth things over, to pull off an event that we do. And I also have a wife and family that support this crazy life of an ag teacher, which all of us in the profession know that we need that at home. So thank you to the Crystal Apple Committee, Mackie, all the sponsors of this program. God bless you all. This is very cool. So thank you.
Miss Jones is one of the best teachers and softball coaches I've ever had. She gives 100% in everything that she does. We're all very lucky to have her in our lives, and especially in our school district. Miss you.
Chauncey, you are such an asset to Pittsville High School. I admire your innovative activities you do with students, and I'm so grateful to be your coworker. You deserve this. Congratulations.
Hi, Miss Jones. I miss seeing you in the hallways, and having a passing was my favorite teacher. Congratulations on the Crystal Apple Award.
Congratulations, Chauncey, on winning the Crystal Apple Award. Great working with you for the last couple of years. You're so deserving of this award. Can't wait to celebrate.
Ms. Jones is a teacher who puts students first. She shows grace and compassion while encouraging supportive learning to each of our students. She teaches with a collaborative mindset and leaves a life-changing positive impact on our students at PHS. Congratulations on your Crystal Apple Award, Ms. Jones. You are truly an inspiration to so many.
Hey Chauncey, I just wanted to say thank you so much for not only being a great role model and teacher for our English students and all of the students in our school, but also thank you for being a great mentor for me as I tackled my first year of high school. And thanks so much for doing everything possible to make school fun for me.
Hi, I'm honored to call Chauncey Jones a friend and a coworker as well. She's an awesome neighbor to have upstairs. I enjoy being able to go into her room and bounce ideas off of her and vice versa. She's done great things at Pittsville, and I know the students really appreciate it, but the staff definitely appreciates her as well for her spunk and her personality and her ideas as well. Congratulations, Chauncey.
When I think about Chauncey Jones, I think of the type of educator that is, when you imagine someone who goes in the education profession for all the right reasons, that's Chauncey. When you go to Chauncey's classroom, you see students, and I know the word engaged tends to be overused, but the reality is kids are engaged. Chauncey makes sure that she has orchestrated this instructional plan every day so that students are all communicating at some point during the classroom. They're talking not just to her, but with each other. They are looking for answers to what they are thinking about as they read a text or a passage, or how they're constructing some evidence of their learning, how they are literally thinking about their thinking. So when we talk about metacognition in learning within the context of education, Chauncey is very skilled at creating instructional plans every day in a classroom environment that embodies the ability for the capacity, rather, for metacognition to happen. Chauncey is also someone who, she doesn't say no. She also knows her limitations, but I tell you, I haven't exactly found one of those yet. If there is something she doesn't know how to do, she says, I'm going to learn how to do that, or I'm at least going to work on filling my cup so that I have the knowledge to do that for the team. She is always thinking in terms of what is best for kids and what is best for the team, what is best for the school. And so, you know the saying, when you want something done, you give it to a busy person. That's how Chauncey operates. She's got a planner. She does things, she's very, very good with educational technology. However, one of the fun things about her is that she still does things in an old-fashioned way. She has a planner that's handwritten, and she keeps that planner just jotted down with her thoughts. She has a separate journal for things that she's thinking about. She has journals in her book bags. So I think she has a lot of the qualities that when we think about that very exciting, fun, innovative educator, it's her. I refer to her as the mini Mary Poppins when I was writing her reference letter, and I'm not even joking. She's like, in her book bag, it's like Mary Poppins, I think it was a carpenter's bag, where Mary Poppins kept pulling out things, including at the end of a very large lamp. That's Chauncey. She's got her bag that's slung over her shoulder, and inside of that is a trove of treasure. So that's our Chauncey. We're so blessed that she joined our team. She's originally from Vermont. She went down to Phoenix for several years, a couple years, 3 years I think, to teach. And she calls that her city experiment. We are lucky that she's landed in Wisconsin, and we get to be blessed with her talents, her passion, her enthusiasm for kids and for learning. And I couldn't be happier that everyone else sees the value that she brings to education and to teaching, and that you guys have picked her as one of the recipients of this year's Crystal Apple Winner Distinction. We love you, Chauncey.
She literally pulled the lamp out during the interview with the selection panel. Very impressive. Every time she would say something she did, we thought that was it. And then she would kind of go, so, yep. Oh, and I also do this, so, yep, Well, and then I also did this, and I mean, the list went on and on, so well deserved. Chauncey Jones, everybody. Here you go.
I'll just speak loud. Well, I was going to take my speech out of my planner, but since it got mentioned, I brought it. So, good evening, and thank you. Thank you to the Marshfield Area Chamber of Commerce for this evening, and to the committee for choosing me as the recipient of the Crystal Apple Award. I am incredibly honored to be here tonight, but more than honored, I'm thankful. I'm thankful to have been chosen from a group of such deserving and qualified teachers, and to be surrounded tonight by friends and family. There are so many people in this room that are responsible for supporting me and shaping me into the kind of person and teacher who wins a Crystal Apple Award. So please bear with me while I thank them. I'll never win an Oscar, so it's now or never for the speech I started when I was 10. My first thank you goes to my parents. Their influence is the #1 reason that I'm able to stand up here tonight and talk to you with any degree of confidence. They always supported me and pushed me. They supported me in my desire to be a fashion designer. And then they pushed me away from it once they figured out that I planned on designing only ball gowns in southern Vermont. They then supported my for sure plan of being a forensic anthropologist and pushed me again away when presented with evidence that I become physically ill at the sight of blood. So their timely advice, like informing me that just professional reader isn't a job, coupled with the love of language and reading that they instilled in me, made me see teaching as something that I might actually like doing. but no teacher or no teenager listens completely to their parents, which is why I also have to credit my high school English teacher, Miss Rude. She says I can call her Linda now, but I actually can't. So Miss Rude, with giving me the final push that brought me to education. Her class was a wonderful amalgamation of critical thinking, writing, creativity, and analysis. I always loved reading, but she taught me to love the art behind it. And she encouraged me to dedicate my life to teaching and encourage others to love it as well. And here then I have to return once again to my parents, if just for a minute. I deliberated when I was writing this speech if I should do my thank yous chronologically or by person, and chronologically got the most votes. Thus far, my speech has made it sound like they only pushed me away from different career paths, but once I settled on teaching, they pushed me towards it with all their might. They listened, they helped, they bought me endless books, and they didn't bat an eye when I got my first job 2,600 miles away from them. In fact, my mom packed for me while I was at work, and my dad made the 39-hour drive with me. They dropped everything to ensure that I was successful in my first foray into the professional world. Their encouragement and willingness to always answer my phone calls is what got me through grad school, a difficult first few years, homesickness, and yet another cross-country move. In fact, they even drove 1,200 miles just to be here tonight. Continuing chronologically, my boyfriend Ethan also deserves a thank you, or a million. No matter how little he actually cares about symbolism, poetry, lesson planning, or whatever else it is I'm talking about, he still listens to me talk about it incessantly. He might have all his English credits to graduate high school over again with the talking that I do. And beyond listening, he shows up. He goes to sporting events, chili cook-offs, concerts, graduation parties. Realistically, there's very few things he won't attend if I ask him. Even this spring, he gamely listened to me teach all of my classes from our kitchen table. He talked me down from stress cooking too many desserts, and he only made a few accidental appearances in staff meetings. His love and support mean more to me than I have time to try and write about in this speech. But now, and perhaps most importantly, I need to thank the family that I found at Pittsville School District. I moved here from Phoenix, Arizona 2 years ago, knowing only my boyfriend and his parents, to begin work at a school I'd only seen on a website. The website looked extremely promising. Pittsville was my favorite out of the 24 Wisconsin schools that I applied to, but it was just a website. I can make one of those. And I hope it was as great as it seemed. It was better than I imagined. The staff welcomed me with open arms and made space in their school and their lives for someone new. Not only someone new, but somebody who occasionally can't help correcting grammar. So I'm even more thankful for them on those occasions. I wouldn't be standing here tonight without their support. Dr. Cynthia Porter, our principal, met me in person the first day I came to visit after getting settled from moving. She greeted me with a hug and a conversation about how she wanted me to take instructional risks. The first time I'd ever heard that, actually. To push myself to be the best teacher possible, even and especially if it meant thinking outside the box in order to reach our kids. After having the first 3 years of teaching be really difficult and being left wondering if it was something I could do long term, I realized over the course of our conversation that it was, and that I'd found the perfect place to do it. And it really has been. My last 2 years at Pittsville have rejuvenated me and cemented my love of teaching. My colleagues push me to be better. The students make coming to work enjoyable, and I'm supported and encouraged in my attempts to make English class palatable, if not enjoyable, for teenagers. And now as I look towards the future of my career, I'm excited to be doing the work I am at Pittsville, surrounded by such creative and driven colleagues. This spring taught me more than any college class could about the value and necessity of equity in education. It made me reevaluate what my classes could and should look like. And I see that as we look forward, it's going to be impossible to keep education the same. Now more than ever, it's going to be important that we're reaching all students, making their educations relevant to them, and teaching them to become critical readers and thinkers. Educating our students in a changing world and helping them navigate it, it's not going to be an easy job. But it's a job that I'm passionate about and that I'm happy to be doing in this community. So thank you to everybody who has given me their time, their support, and their love so that I could get to this moment in time with a job and a community that I love.
Mr. Natzke will help you prove it's not. He helps you fix the problems you have and teaches you new things you didn't know before. Mr. Natzke also helps you in creating different learning environments for different students. Congratulations, Mr. Natzke.
Mr. Natzke is one of the most upbeat, enthusiastic teachers I know. There's not a day that goes by when I don't hear him in the hallway, calling each student by name, wishing them to have a great day. I hope you have a great day too, Mr. Natzke. You deserve this award.
I've had the pleasure of working with Mr. Natzke for the past several years. It's always a joy to be part of his class because he's always happy to be there. He's enthusiastic, he's compassionate, and he makes all of his work accessible for every student. There isn't anyone quite like Mr. Natzke. He's one of a kind, and I can't think of anyone who deserves a Crystal Apple Award more than Mr. Natzke. He's the kind of teacher that you want for your own kids. Congratulations, Mr. Natzke. You're amazing.
Hi, Mr. Natzke. I'm so happy that you got this award. You deserve it after holding the cold door and putting up with me for 3 whole years. I loved coming into your room, not only because it was so warm, but because I knew we would have fun. I truly miss walking in and getting a big, "How's it going, Vanessa?" from the famous Mr. Natzkers. I'm truly going to miss having you as a teacher every day.
Mr. Natzke. He is a dedicated and passionate teacher. He is always positive and energetic. No matter what a student's skills are, he is always encouraging them to find their full potential. You know Mr. Natzke loves working with kids. The summer school program is always a hit. The kids love his Dungeons and Dragons after-school program, and his production of the morning announcements with the students is always amazing. Because of Mr. Natzke, I know our students love coming to school every day. Mr. Natzke, congratulations. You deserve this.
Breaking news. A small-town teacher from a place called Pittsville, Wisconsin has won the Teacher of Distinction Award. It says here that his students and fellow colleagues nominated him, saying that he was an amazing teacher, person, and friend, which I very much agree with. Personally, I think he has a great personality and is very outgoing. Now, if we could only find Pittsville on the map. Anyway, I'm Ron Ballard, coming at you from a pre-recorded message. Congratulations, Mr. Natzke.
Mr. Natzke is definitely one of those teachers that I will never fail to forget as I move on through school. And one of these reasons being how kind and considerate of a person he is. He will never hesitate to stop you in the middle of the hallway just to ask how your day's been going or give you a simple compliment. He's just that kind of a person, and that's a good trait to have. And that's the trait we need in people these days. And another thing is that I am 100% definitely sure that he played a definite role in helping me become a more creative person, and he helped spark my love for writing stories, and I actually really like writing stories now. And I don't think I ever would have found that out if it weren't for him. And another thing is, is his summer school classes. They are absolutely amazing. He brings people together that you never really thought you'd be friends with, and you get to just spend time, you know, play board games, maybe even hang out in a tree for a while with your favorite book, and be with people, like I said before, you really never thought you'd be friends with. And that's all thanks to him for bringing us together with those classes. And one last final note is that he is a cat person, just like me. Isn't that right, Russell? So congratulations, Mr. Natzke. You deserved it.
What I like about Mr. Natzke is that I like his fun way of doing things. And he is always kind to others. Whenever you see him in the hallway, he always says hi to you. Congratulations, Mr. Natzke.
Congratulations, Mr. Natzke. You are so deserving of this special honor and award. You do great things for our staff and students every day at Pittsville Elementary School. You come to school every day and build genuine relationships with your students. You get to know them on an academic and personal level. Students in your classroom feel safe and comfortable to take educational risks because of how welcoming you are to all of your students. You are an innovative and creative teacher who's always thinking about what's best for his students. I appreciate your leadership with our staff. You help guide, assist, and teach us all about technology. We appreciate everything you do. Congratulations. Before I go, Mr. Natzke, I have a few things to share with you. Number one, if it weren't summertime, I would be wearing my ugly sweater in honor of you. Thank you for inspiring our staff and students to love ugly sweaters. And number two, the classroom rule you have about needing a book when you enter your classroom, please know that I am keeping up on my summer reading.
All right, where is he? There he is. Hi, Natzke. All right, that might have been, by the way, like the most epic introductory video ever. I regret to inform you, Russell could not be with us tonight, but Mr. Natzke could. Congratulations. Thank you.
They should really play the video after the speech, so that way the speaker can compose themselves a little bit better. Okay. When I was a younger kid, I had a hard time with change. My mom had a calling to leave teaching and become an Episcopal priest. In order for her to go to seminary and then find a job, we moved right before I entered middle school and then again right before high school. As my father can attest, the days, weeks, and months leading up to the move were unnecessarily stressful for myself because of myself. My thoughts were dark and afraid, and I was really just afraid of growing up. However, as we humans do, I grew, and now change, positive change to learn, change to grow as a person, is something that I actively seek out. For example, yesterday, I bought beehives. Over the winter, I dove deeper into coding and with some advanced HTML. I am working with a pair of Canadian podcasters to create a tool for dungeon masters to make their Dungeons and Dragons quests a little better. I enjoy new challenges. At a recent Midwest Google Summit, I attended a seminar and the speaker said something that has not left the forefront of my mind. He said, as educators, the most dangerous thing we can do is to believe what we are doing is right. I think all of the educators in this room share a similar philosophy, not just in our teaching, but in our essence. We have to be brave and try new things in and out of our workspaces because some small future depends on it. One of the biggest reasons I'm up here tonight is because of my principal. We're good. Heather. Over the past 4 years, she has never once said no to me. It might have been a wait till next year, or can you start a donuts juice? Or one time it was, let me call Pam and approve this order right away. Because of her willingness to allow me to try new things, Pittsville had a board game design class for 1 year. It was terrible. After that flopped, I opted instead for coding and video production, and the elementary school received daily video announcements posted to YouTube. You can still watch them today. My nephew really enjoys them. And after a rushed approval from Pam, we got 3D printers, which sparked creativity and drive in students that had a hard time picking up a pencil or a book. But some changes are unexpected. When our world shut down in March, we all had a sharp lesson in relying on stability. Many of us lost regular contact with our students, and we learned that if a student can choose between talking to their teacher and not talking to their teacher, they will often choose the latter. And somehow we kept the two things that I hate most about this profession: entering grades into the gradebook and staff meetings. Now, things aren't all bad. One of my students, who isn't much of a reader or writer, regularly checked in with me. His work was never done, and he never had an idea what the day's tasks were. But I learned that he breeds homing pigeons, loves to fish, and his dog quickly grew tired of all of the walks that he had to go on now that the boy was home all the time. Another student hung out on a Google Meet for almost 2 hours just playing classic rock music. As I worked, he would ask me, Mr. Natzke, have you ever heard of Guns N' Roses? Mr. Natzke, have you ever heard of Queen? Mr. Natzke, have you heard of AC/DC? He would just put his phone speaker up to the microphone and we would just jam. I didn't get much work done that day. But I don't think that Cody wanted to hang up when the call was over. I didn't want to either. Now, there are some larger positive changes too. I hope we all felt a priority shift. Strict due dates disappeared. Teacher dress code became difficult to enforce. Many students got the freedom to choose when they wanted to work, when they needed a break, and could self-pace through the week's work. In our teacher meetings, we stopped talking about students in terms of grades and achievement, and talked instead about student well-being, and made plans to benefit the whole student. Every kid had an individualized learning plan, and we didn't have to take the forward exam. The world didn't burn down. Looking forward to next year, many of us might be thinking that if things can go back to normal. But honestly, it is not when we can go back to normal, but if. And maybe now's a good time to ask ourselves, do we really want to go back? COVID has shown us what matters and what we can leave behind. As we plan for September and beyond, we have an opportunity to pause, take a breath, and make a plan to radically change the education system for the better. As a nation, we are examining the capacity and purpose of some of our long-standing establishments. It is only a matter of time before focus moves from law enforcement and the justice system to education, which has its own history with systemic racism and inequality. I vote we get ahead of the curve, take a hard look at our skeletons in the closet, and take this opportunity for positive, sustainable, and ingenious change that helps every student. After all, the most dangerous thing we can do is to believe what we are currently doing is right. I want to thank the Marshfield Chamber of Commerce for hosting and showcasing exemplary teachers from the area. Thank you also goes to my administration team for never saying no, Heather Friday and Ronnie Figueroa. I want to thank my parents for being a constant support and letting me follow my passions. And I want to also thank my beautiful partner, Emily Batterman, whom I love very much. Thank you.
What can I say about Missy Stockheimer? She exemplifies the best of what her profession is about. Missy is caring, kind, and her classroom is one where students thrive. No one is more approachable than Missy. And because of this, students excel in their classroom. They in return hold great respect for all she does. Missy is a purposeful teacher. Her lessons are well organized. Instructional delivery is as sound as you can ask. She makes them fun and math enjoyable for her students. And students simply like and respect the work and effort that she puts in on their behalf. During her 20-year career in teaching, Missy has risen to the top. She is well respected by her peers and administration. Missy does not give lip service to the phrase, do what's best for kids. She's an example of what this means. Missy's professionalism and leadership is not an example just for young teachers. The excellence she delivers on a day basis is a model for all teachers, regardless of the experience they have and the content they teach. If you're doing good work, Missy will always be there for you. Missy's genuine, she's honest and diplomatic. Missy may disagree with you, and you'll know it, and she'll explain why. But after it's all said and done, that's the end of it. She's always remains respectful, and she'll tell you exactly how she sees it, and isn't ever shy away from difficult or controversial topics. I respect her tremendously for this. You can't help being around Missy. It's a joy to be around her. I appreciate her infectious laugh that endures her many, and I know when I speak with Missy, she speaks from the heart and is genuine in what she says and does, and simply truly puts kids first. So again, congratulations, Missy, well deserved. Marshfield High School students and staff are proud of you. And more importantly, we're fortunate to have you. Keep up the good work.
Hello, I am Len Leckie Jr., and it is my privilege here to be helped to present Melissa Stockheimer with this Crystal Apple Award. It is well deserved. I've been blessed to work with Missy for the last 20 years. We were hired together back in August of 2000. I believe she was hired a couple days before I was, and it's been a joy. She had a big heart, a beautiful smile, and a wonderful laugh. I'm privileged to work across the hall from her. And we help each other immensely. Her students benefit greatly from her passion of helping every student to succeed and her willingness to go above and beyond before school, after school, every free minute she has to help them to be successful. Marshfield High School has been a better place to have her, and hopefully we will continue to have her for a long time. Thanks, Missy, for all you do for our math department. Your staff and your students are blessed. Thank you.
Okay, she's out of it. Okay, Melissa Stockheimer, everybody.
Oh boy. So knowing that it was going to be last, I actually wrote 3 different speeches. So I'm going to say ditto to the other 3. And I have one that I think you haven't heard. So I've been teaching at Marshfield High School for 20 years. Wonderful school district, really strives to give the best educational opportunities to our kids. A few years back, I was in like my 16th year of teaching, I felt like I needed a change. So I did apply to go to lacrosse, and I was offered the job, but then I just couldn't leave. I couldn't leave the school district, I couldn't leave my department. The math department in Marshfield is the most caring and compassionate group of individuals. We want to see students grow and contribute as members of society. So I'm going to pick on a couple of my colleagues that are here. If you have ever heard Coach Denny Gadel or Lenny Lukey give any speeches to their players, to their students about being contributing members to society, you will be inspired by everything that they say. They offer life choices and life advice, and then they offer students the ability to think about how could we have made that choice better. So they're always there for their students, they're always there for me. So thank you to them. Even more importantly, the bouncing back and being able to move forward with every life choice that you make for their students, for me. It's amazing the support that I have gotten from them. Evidence of that was this spring we continued to have Microsoft Team meetings where we would vent about technology, we would support each other's sanity. Having school shut down so abruptly was just insane, especially for me. I live out in the sticks. I live in Neilsville, actually. And so I was not able to always meet those meetings because the internet didn't support it. But they were always there. I would email or I would call because phones still work out there. But, you know, just the support they would give is quite amazing. I'm a math teacher, I'm not English or speak in front of. My daughter told me to just think of you guys as high school students and I would be better, and she's right. So I'm like, I have to speak in front of all these adults. She's like, well, you're a teacher, how can you not do this? I'm like, it's different. Because I'm superior when I'm a teacher. But I have a family, a table of family here that is my biggest supporters, so I wanted to give thanks. My mom and dad have raised two, I'm going to call us amazing teachers. Mom always telling us that we could be anything we wanted to be, and then turning to tell us that we could teach anybody. Raising very strong girls. She's always willing to listen and gives that I don't know how you do it, and really makes you feel like you're a superhero being a teacher. Dad constantly teasing us that teachers have so many days off and they never really go to work. But don't worry, he's teasing. He's teasing. He's quite the comedian, always has a story or a joke ready. I already had to rescue Denny earlier today because, you know, Dad had his ear. But he's always ready with comic relief and has taught me that there's no problem too big to conquer. And to not take life so seriously, just roll with punches. My husband Gary reminding me whenever I give him the UGG teaching talks, and he's like nodding and listening. He reminds me that 180 different personalities, teenage personalities a day. He couldn't do it. It sounds like complete torture. So, in that, the other side, that helps a lot. My daughter Taryn, who tells me how lucky my students are to have a teacher who cares so deeply about them. She is my technology support as well. As this spring was very hard for me, I'm a little bit of a technophobic person. I like to try new things, but when they don't work, I'm frustrated. We'll put it that way. Taryn pushed me to make believe that creating teaching videos wasn't really that hard, Mom. You can do this. Team meetings aren't that scary, okay? Perhaps the biggest advantage I have of having a 17-year-old daughter while being a high school teacher is having your own decoder to the teenage realm. Like when you're trying to understand what in the world is TikTok, and memes, and Instagram, and Finsta, and just when I get totally comfortable with Facebook, she says, Mom, nobody does that. Oh, shoot. But she has been my absolute rock the last few months, and as well as tackling her new world of being an online student. So, very proud of you, Miss Taryn. My sister Annie, fellow teacher, absolutely insane supporter of my life's adventures, mishaps, challenges, and successes. If you think of teaching teenagers math is tough, you should try teaching somebody who can't sit still how to read. That's what she does. So, very proud of her as well. So while she is teaching second graders, I am teaching high schoolers. We support each other, talk shop, and laugh at this tremendous career that has chosen us. Everyone needs their own Annie. This being the 17th annual, sorry. Okay, so this being the 17th Crystal Apple Awards, as I stated earlier, I have taught in Marshfield for 20 years. I have been nominated 17 times for this award. Talk about persistence. The Marshfield Chamber of Commerce for the recognition of what teachers do and all that our struggles and really understanding. My last thank you then has to go out to my students that year after year have filled out these nomination forms and handed them in by the deadline. And yes, online is much more friendly. I got an email from a former student who now teaches in Marshfield saying, "It's about time you finally won the Crystal Apple that I nominated you for 16 years ago." Yep, I finally figured it out, thanks. Took a bit. Just tells you how many well-deserving teachers there are in this area, though. So thank you to all the past, present Crystal Apple nominees, teachers of distinction, and winners, as I feel inspired in this profession to do the very best daily, and I'm very supported in this unprecedented times ahead of us. So as we jump into the new realm of school, whether it is traditional, blended, virtual, I hope we can give each other the support that we need in the unknown times ahead. They're going to require patience and understanding, and not everything planned out. Type A math teacher, did I tell you that already? Everything working like you thought. But it's going to be a struggle for our students. We have to remember that. Our students, our parents. Our parents are pulling their hair out and saying, "I don't know how you guys teach. I no longer love my children." They do, they do. But it was a very, very difficult time. But if we can just be supportive of our teachers, our principals, and we will reach the best outcomes we possibly can. My favorite part of teaching, which is building rapport with my students, is seemingly at risk. But as my daughter has told me, "No, Mom, it's just different." So I will take that persistence to get to know my students, as I have in the past, but I wanted to thank you, and together we can pull this off as we have, and the future looks bleak, bright, bleak, bright. But I wanted to thank you all for being here and being who you are. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Melissa. And now, if you would sit in on the interview with Melissa, you would not think she is a math teacher. In her next life, she will be like a life coach or something like that. She is, you're not a math teacher, I got news for you. Melissa, Ty, Chauncey, Mark, congratulations. Well deserved to all of our teachers of distinction here tonight. Before we conclude, a few others who deserve recognition. Special thanks to the Crystal Apple Committee, consisting of Carmen Lawler, Dr. Debbie Zador-North, and Debbie Bauer for all their behind-the-scenes coordination of this program. Let's hear it for those guys. This year threw us a major curveball, and what was it, right before we were going to go out and do videos and stuff, it was lockdown quarantine time, so we were scrambling, or they were. I didn't do a thing. They did all the work, and I'm so thankful for that. So thank you guys. They really were awesome. Finally, we'd like to thank the 2020 school partners in the Crystal Apple program. Without your vision, your support, we simply would not be here each and every year. We appreciate all you do for the area youth and for the future workforce of this country and this world, really. You guys are sending people around the world, and it's just awesome to see. So on behalf of the Marshfield Area Chamber Foundation, thank you for joining us here tonight for this celebration of educational excellence. How about one final round of applause for the 2020 Crystal Apple teachers? Yes, awesome. Well done. Under under extraordinary circumstances. Wow. Housekeeping. Leave your name tags at the registration table just outside the door. One other thing, have a great night. And third, drive safe. Oh, number 4, we will see you back here next year. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Congratulations to all of our teachers, and we appreciate your support. Good night.